it was a great game of football on both sides, and ultimately this game came down to the Detroit Lions not being able to stop the Buffalo Bills. It was just that simple. Lions were solid. They ended up picking it up on the offensive end, and they tried all game to make sure they stayed in striking range, which they did. They just couldn't stop the offense. That was the biggest part here for the Detroit Lions. And they weren't even trailing at a point where it's like the game is over. And there was times where it seemed like the Bills just kind of wrapped up the game, but the Lions were there. If you were watching the game, you seen the Lions stayed in striking distance. They were right there. They were up close to the Bills, and anything that went wrong for the Buffalo Bills, it could have easily turned to the Lions' advantage, and the Lions could have won this game. So there was some things. They started slow on offense, which kind of hurt them because they were playing from behind right away. The defense, man, they got rolled through. They got rolled over, and I know a lot of people, when I mention the defense, is going to bring up all the injuries. And yes, I know the Lions have a shit ton of injuries, but at the end of the day, it's not an excuse, and I'll get to the injuries, but before the injuries, another key component for this game here, outside of injuries, was the coaching. People wanted to mention the coaching on Dan Campbell. We know Dan Campbell is an aggressive coach. This dude, he goes for it on fourth down damn near every time. He kicked the onside kick with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Ridiculous. In my opinion, it's ridiculous. There's been people out there that said, oh, well, Dan Campbell kicking this onside kick in the fourth quarter with 12 minutes left is not a bad thing. And I understand that perspective because the defense was getting rolled on the entire game. You want to have the Bills get a field goal. It's still going to be a two-possession game, whether they score, kick, a field goal. Either way, it's still a two-possession game just because of how much they were down. And then you want to limit the amount of time the Bills can waste by kicking it short and giving them less field position to run the ball or run the clock out, whatever the case is. I get it. I get all of that stuff. And that's nice. But at the end of the day, bro, you cannot do that. I'm on the side of kicking the onside kick when you have 12 minutes left in the fourth and you're down 10 points. It's stupidity. Stupidity. And I say this because, yeah, I know your offense was getting rolled through, so you want to give them less time. But ultimately, if you go out there and play defense, it's always going to be harder for a team to score from the opponent's 20-yard line compared to your own 20-yard line. If they have to go 80 yards to score versus 10 yards to score, it's going to be a completely different situation. And for the Lions, look, you were bad on defense. We know. But anything could have happened where it worked out for your advantage. A simple mistake from the Buffalo Bills could have still set you up where you were down 10 and you didn't give them a gimme type of touchdown because you wanted to do an onside kick. So that's my only thing there. That's my stance on the onside kick. And injuries is people just continue to go down with the Lions, man. They continue to go down. This isn't anything where, oh, it's like they played bad because of injury. Like, no. They were already injured coming into this game. And I think if anything, it says a lot about the Lions coaching staff to even keep the game competitive and close when you're out there with fourth and fifth string guys playing against the Buffalo Bills starters. That says a lot about what they can do. And there's no team, there's not a single team in the NFL that's built to be great when they're playing with fourth and fifth stringers on the field. There's not one team who can still make something happen because the Lions got more people on IR than anybody in the NFL right now, and they're still kicking butt week after week after week without guys who are supposed to be starters, without second string guys, without third string guys. So this is impressive to me, but the chances of going to the Super Bowl and actually winning, they're getting more and more slim because now you got the health crisis going on. You just lost David Montgomery. You lost another defensive end. You lost another cornerback in Carlton Davis. Like, people are just dropping like flies with the Lions. They were built like a juggernaut when they were healthy, but they become beatable to a subpar team so far. So it's rough, man. And now it's really time for them to just weigh on the outscoring their opponents because the defense is shot, man. No linebackers. You just lost a corner, defensive line, another defensive lineman done went down. So it's rough. It's rough for those guys. But anyway, look, man, here, we got Dan Campbell here. He was asked about injuries at the end of the game after the loss with the Bills. So here's Dan Campbell. The audio is from Fox 2 News.
We've lost.